Hey guys, welcome back to the Zone. The highly anticipated S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 Heart of Chernobyl is finally here. As expected, the game is an incredibly immersive, open-world survival experience, which I've been having a blast with. But if you're at all like me diving in for the first time, you might feel a bit overwhelmed due to the game having no traditional tutorial to help you learn many of the game's mechanics and systems. But no worries, Stalker, I've got your back. In this video, we're going to cover some quick tips to help you survive the harsh realities of the Zone. Whether you're exploring the irradiated landscapes in search of artifacts, fighting off mutants and other factions, or simply following the main storyline, these tips will set you up for success. Let's dive in, Stalker. Your survival depends on it. Tip number 1. Pay attention to your status indicators. Just above your health bar, you may have some status indicators depending on if your character has any active debuffs. The possible statuses are hunger, bleeding, drowsiness, encumbered, radiation, psi radiation, and alcohol. Most of these are pretty self-explanatory aside from psi radiation, which we'll leave for another video. But you'll want to cure these reasonably quickly due to their negative effects. For example, bleeding will decrease your health over time, while being encumbered will slow your character down. Even hunger will decrease your combat effectiveness. So if you're hungry, simply eat some food. Do note though, that some food satiates better than others, so be sure to hover over each food item to become familiar with which ones are more effective than others. If you're bleeding, use a bandage. Being shot or attacked by a mutant or even some anomalies can cause bleeding, which will slowly drain your health. If you're tired, sleep. S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 has various rest locations typically found within settlements. Note, before sleeping, some status indicators need to be cleared. If you're irradiated, take anti-radiation medicine, or drink alcohol. If you're drunk, well, just wait a bit. And finally, if you're encumbered, shed some weight, which takes us to our next tip. Tip number 2, try to stay underweight. It may not seem like it at first, but movement is very important in S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 and can mean the difference between life and death. If you open your inventory, you'll see a weight indicator ranging from green, yellow, then red. As you increase weight initially into the yellow, your character will begin to exhibit debuffs of being encumbered. These debuffs will negatively affect your movement speed, as well as increase the rate at which your stamina drains and decrease the rate at which your stamina refills. These effects will continue to get worse the heavier you are, until finally immobility ensues once you've crammed enough cheap bottles of vodka. So be sure to try and keep your weight down as much as possible by regularly selling off your extra gear and stashing any of the extra ammo or supplies you may want later. Which leads us into tip number 3. Tip number 3, use your personal stash. Early on in the game, you'll eventually come across a bed and a tan-looking stash in the beginning town Zalicia. If you haven't found it yet, this bed and stash are found in a room just left of the trader Hamster found in this house. What the game doesn't tell you is that this stash box is shared with all other stash locations throughout the game. So throw some gear in there and you'll be able to pull it out later at any of the other personal stash locations in the zone. The known locations are here. Tip number 4, bash open dim boxes. While adventuring throughout the zone, you'll come across plenty of boxes filled with loot. There are med boxes, ammo boxes, provision boxes, and even generic-looking wooden boxes with the occasional goodies inside. These last ones can be a bit tricky though because they look so similar to the normal boxes in the game. You can see the differences between the two here, with the lighter, more tan-colored ones being the destructible boxes. Use your knife or gun melee to break open the boxes for that sweet, sweet loot. Just realize the wooden boxes take more than one weapon melee to break open, while the knife one-taps everything. Also, breaking these boxes can sometimes reveal hidden secrets or unknown paths to hidden areas, so keep your eyes open and bash away. Tip number 5, unload weapons from the ground. Here's a quick tip to speed up your looting. After mowing down a bunch of poor bandits, when you go to loot their bodies, you'll notice their guns are also lootable off the ground. If you're only interested in scavenging off their ammo for your fleetingly decreasing ammo stash of your own, just press and hold the interact key on the gun to grab the ammo. This will certainly save a bunch of clicks when looting away. Speaking of saving a bunch of clicks, be sure to click the like and subscribe to get more videos like this in the future. Tip number 6, use your compass. Your compass has a lot of subtle information displayed on it other than just the cardinal directions. Marked locations on your map, including active quests, are displayed in the distance to them in meters. Note that main missions are orange and side missions are blue. This also carries over to the long orange or blue shaded line that you can see just below the compass occasionally. If you're within a searchable area for a main or side mission, this bar with the corresponding color will display, so be sure to search around for the object you're looking for. Also displayed just below the compass bar is a detection bar. When you are making noise or becoming visible or noticeable to an enemy, this bar begins to fill up blue, letting you know you're about to be detected. So make sure to hide, crouch, turn off your flashlight, or basically stop doing whatever you're doing if you don't want to be detected. Of course, we all can't be Sam Fisher out there, so when you're inevitably detected, your compass will display a red bar below it, as well as a position of enemies actively in combat with you, displayed by an upside down red triangle. When you kill the enemies, their location on the bar turns to a gray X, making it easier to find their bodies for that sweet, sweet loot. And finally, tip number 7. Don't be afraid to explore. Exploration is one of the key joys to Stalker 2. Hidden loot, secret areas, and rare items are waiting to be discovered. So make sure to take your time when exploring. Don't just rush from quest to quest. If you take the time to look around, you might find valuable resources, weapons, or even lore that will help you understand the zone better. Let me give you a quick example when I first left the Lesser Zone. Upon coming to this intersection, I could have turned right to follow the road straight to my main objective, but instead I decided to turn left to loot some nearby warehouses and a small town. In these areas, I found a couple hidden stashes and some incredible loot within them. I found a fantastic new suppressed pistol running 45 ACP, and I also found an extended 45 round mag for my AK that I've been using thus far. This only took a few extra minutes out of my time, and I'm suddenly now packing much better gear and that much more prepared to face the challenges ahead. Alright Stalker, that's all for today's tips and tricks. I hope you found at least a few of these helpful and are now better prepared to face the challenges within the zone. If you have any game-changing tips yourself, feel free to share below in the comments. If you found this helpful, I would very much appreciate a like and subscribe. As always, stay sharp, stay safe, and good luck out there.